Hello, Paulette Bernard coming to you from the Airmen and Family Readiness Center, and welcome to Lajes Now. Today we have two guests, and you both work at the Airmen and Family Readiness Center.
That's
we
correct.
have Sergeant McKnight, and you are the Readiness NCOIC.
Yes, that's correct.
And Mr. Curtis Greer, and you are the Family Services Flight Chief.
Yes.
Wow. So welcome, and thank you for talking with us today. We have a couple of things coming up that we would like the community to know about, and one of them, really excited about this, is Military Saves Week. So can you tell us more about that?
Military Saves Week will officially kick off the week of 24 February, and it's an event geared towards encouraging military members and their families to save and invest, and really not only during the week of February, but all year round.
So, what are we doing here at Lajes?
Well, I'm excited to announce that here at Lajes, we're going to have two primary focus for Military Saves Week. Number one, we're going to have military members have the opportunity to take a pledge. Take a pledge to make a commitment to themselves and their families to try to save. And even though that may be a challenge for them during these tough times, we actually are going to have classes to help them, give them some tips on how they can go about doing that. And we're fortunate to have a personal financial counselor that's actually going to fly here to the island. This person's an expert on financial saving, and they're going to actually conduct classes here at the Airmen and Family Readiness Center. And we've set it up so that they will have more than one time throughout the day during a 3-day period during Military Saves Week. They'll do a morning class and a noon class. And in addition to conducting those classes, that financial counselor is actually going to set aside time so that members can call in the Airmen and Family Readiness Center and schedule for one-on-one appointments so that they can tailor those tips to their family needs.
That is absolutely amazing, and what an opportunity for people to be able to take advantage of that, and especially the one-on-one counseling.
Absolutely.
Because everybody has their own financial situation, and it's either something that they want to improve, they want to have additional information as it relates directly to their circumstances. So
you know, Paulette, I can't emphasize this enough. If our military members had to go out and procure this out of their own pocket to hire a personal financial management counselor, we know, especially back in the States, they command high dollar. And that right there is a huge savings for our military members to be able to sit down and talk to a personal financial counselor one-on-one about their personal situation. And so what we're hoping to do throughout this time frame is to not only challenge our military members to start saving or enhance the saving initiatives that they've already started, but we want them to actually look at upping that so that they can focus even more. And then we're going to make sure that they have the support that they need to know just how they can go about doing that.
That's wonderful. So that is one thing that we're doing here at Lajes, and I understand that there's something else that's being done, and this is DoD-wide.
That is correct.
And what is that?
So what we're doing, and you know, here at Lajes, we always have to one up, right? So it's not, I mean, I've been here for 18 months now, and that's one of the things I've come to appreciate. You know, typically most military people think of a small base, and they think limited resources, and they think that things aren't available. In the 18 months that I've been here, I've actually noticed just the opposite. Two things that really stand out for me. One is we have a special group of people here at Lajes that know how to maximize the resources that we have. And the second thing is we always reach out and grab those resources that we need to help take care of our folks. And so our initial goal, the goal that DoD expects of all of the DoD components, is to make sure that we have 100% contact to all of our military members. But our leadership here, knowing the caliber of people that we have here at Lajes, says we want to set another goal. We want to see our 95% of the folks here at Lajes take that pledge to save. And people should relax in the idea that no one's going to look to see what type of pledge they're making or how much they're pledging to save. We just want to know that they've taken initiative to make the pledge.
And how do they go about taking that pledge?
Well, there'll be an opportunity for them to actually go online. And they can actually access this from their home if some people feel more comfortable doing that, or even from their government computer. And they'll be able to go on and put their information in, just indicate what commitment they've made and what pledge they're going to take.
Right, and from what I understand, and I actually took the pledge. I took the pledge last year.
Good for you, Paula.
And that means if you took it last year, take it again this year.
Absolutely.
Right, and you're not required to put down a dollar amount.
Not at all,
and
not at all.
And the other thing that you can do is there's actually a drop-down menu. And you can say specifically, what are you pledging for? I mean, what is your financial goal? Is it to buy a home? Is it for education? Is it just to increase your savings? Is it for this fabulous vacation that you want?
College for your children.
College for your, absolutely.
As a parent,
yeah.
I'm familiar with them all too well.
Right. And so that just helps, in my mind anyway, it just anchored what I was actually pledging for, because you have to have a goal, right? Because how are you gonna do anything unless you know where you're going?
Absolutely.
So, okay, well, thank you so much for telling us about Military Saves Week. And the Airmen and Family Readiness Center offers some really essential services and programs for our community. And one that I think is especially important is our Transition Assistance Program. And Mr. Greer, can you tell us more about that?
Sure. I mean, I think everybody know by now that the Air Force recently announced force management changes or initiatives. And, there's a lot of concern and anxiety with those. But again, thanks to the wonderful staff we have here at the Airmen and Family Readiness Center, which you both happen to be a part of, I'm proud to be able to say that we've already leaned forward and taken a lead to make sure that we take care of those folks here at Lajes that may or may not be affected by those force management initiatives. And one of the things that, thanks to Lori Salafia, who we're going to be losing soon, and we're very sad about that. Lori not only is our school liaison officer, but she's also an additional duty community resource counselor, CRC, here at the Airmen and Family. And she immediately took the lead, and she set up 2 mass briefings for pre-separation counseling. And as you are aware, historically these briefings are preserved to be done one-on-one. But when you looked at the fact that there was an increased number of people that might be affected by force management initiatives, we started to do a mass briefing where we already have taken care of about 40-something of our largest folks, where we've brought them in and we given them information to help them prepare. So at this point, a lot of people just don't know what will be the outcome and whether or not it will affect them. It is very likely, statistically speaking, that few people here at Lajes might be affected, but we're not going to allow our folks to just sit around and wait. Many of them are eager to be proactive, and we are assisting them in being proactive. So we started off by conducting mass pre-separation counseling briefings, and then we also went from a quarterly transition assistance workshop, or TAP workshop as it's commonly known. Now we're going to be conducting one every month, starting last month and going to the end of this fiscal year. And if the need is still there, we'll even continue beyond that. And the beauty of that is that anybody that wants to send transition assistance, whether or not you already have plans to retire or whether or not you think that you might be affected by the force management initiative, will have an opportunity to come and attend that 5-day workshop. The 5-day workshop, Transition Assistance Program workshop, is based on this concept of Transition GPS. And Transition GPS stands for Transition, Goals, Plans, and Success. Right. And so we are going to, and that's our foundation for everything that we approach. I have to tell you that I've been around the Air Force for over 35 years, and I know that we have these ebbs and flows where we draw down and then we build back up and we have to draw down again, and I'm going to date myself. I can go all the way back to the Vietnam War. So I would tell our members is that, don't feel singled out if you have received that email or you're uncomfortable by your Air Force future. That's just the nature of the needs of our country. And so, however, I'm going to tell you that I can tell you personally, in the past, as a component of DOD, we haven't always gotten it right in helping our folks to transition away from the military. But those days, I'm happy to say, are long gone. There are congressional laws that make it mandatory for every member separating or retiring from the Air Force to have certain briefings and to have certain amount of education about programs that's available for them. And I should foot stomp that, these programs, these laws were in place before this recent announcement. It's just that we're making sure that we're enforcing those and that we are providing these information to our folks, because we may have a larger number than usual that are affected by this. Right. And so I'm happy that our government has taken the time to look at what historically had been a concern about how we transition people out, whether it's during normal separation and retirement times or during times when we've announced a force shaping initiative. And so the reality is that we've covered all tracks. We have something called a capstone. And that capstone is basically a culmination of all the actions that we take to help a member transition out under normal circumstances or circumstances such as this. One of the things worth noting also is that the basis of this capstone is something called a structure integrated module. Okay. And you know, I wouldn't worry about getting into the details of what that is, but I want to kind of give folks an idea. It's a systematic process, and the takeaway from there should be that this is not something that we just threw together, and it's standardized throughout the Department of Defense. And so we've been able to, over the years, fine-tune this model so that we can make sure that we have military members, some of them are separating or retiring, and maybe they've decided they want to use their GI Bill and they want to go to school and just take a break from work.
Right, so that's an education track.
Absolutely, so we can show them how they can navigate through this education track. We have some folks that want to separate and retire and open their own business. Right. And so we have a track for small business, and even though we're limited, we're not going to let that stop us. And limited, I mean, we don't have the availability of the Small Business Administration here. But, and then we also have a track for those that are going to continue on and go into another career.
Another type of employment.
Absolutely. And for them, of course, then we have, you name it, the resume, the interviewing techniques. So the 5-day workshop consists of the first day, which is completely done by Airmen and Family Center staff. The second, third, and fourth day is actually a standardized workshop sponsored by the Department of Labor. Right. And many of the folks here will know Chuck Serrani. He just happens to be the contractor here for that part of the workshop. And he does an absolutely wonderful job with that. And then the last day, I'm really excited about. The last day is typically reserved for a Veterans Administration benefits briefing. Right. And because we are a small base, we have not in the past been able to have someone come here physically to Lajes and conduct this briefing, but that's not the case for the next few months. We have successfully negotiated with the Veterans Administration to send one of their counselors, one of their experts here. And on the 5th day, we're going to have the workshops for the foreseeable future. We're going to have a Veterans Administrative representative here at Lajes to conduct that briefing.
That is just absolutely amazing. So all the resources that military members need if they are transitioning from the military to the civilian world is in place.
Absolutely.
And all through the Airmen and Family Readiness Center, thanks to the Department of Labor, the Department of Defense, pulling together resources and really understanding some of the challenges that people are going to be faced with as they transition into the civilian world and how they can overcome those challenges. So it's really, I think it's amazing that we are able to be part of something like that, and it's very encouraging.
We have to give credit to our local leadership too, because their challenge to us was to make sure that we could make these things happen, and they're staying abreast on how these programs are affecting folks here at Lajes, and they want to make sure that not only here at Airmen and Families, but with the force support and all of the other support agencies, that we're leaning forward, that we're reaching out to these folks, and we're providing them the assistance that they need.
Very well put, of course. So thank you so much for coming and sharing that valuable information.
Thank you for this opportunity.
For the community. And as we like to wind up our shows with a tradition.
Oh yes, yes.
Okay, so let's not forget that. Okay, are you ready? Ciao.
Ciao.
From Lajes now.